3I Atlas was an interstellar visitor.
On the 1st of July, NASA detected a mysterious object.
A nuclear-powered spacecraft sent by aliens.
Space is not empty. It is a cathedral of silence, endless, echoing, eternal. Here, time itself feels frozen, stretched thin across a black horizon. Stars burn like ancient candles flickering in the distance, each one a reminder of ages older than memory. And for billions of years, this silence has remained unbroken, vast, cold, absolute. Until one night in 2017, from the infinite ocean between the stars, something crossed into our world. Not a message, not a signal carried on radio waves, but an object, real, solid, impossibly fast. It drifted into view like a splinter of night, tumbling through the daylight of our solar system. Small, no more than a kilometer in length, yet carrying with it the weight of another history, a story not born under our sun. Astronomers called it Oumuamua, the messenger, the scout from afar, but no name could soften its strangeness. Its orbit was wrong, its speed was unnatural, its shape was like nothing our telescopes had ever captured. And then the deeper shock. As it moved away, it accelerated, subtly, mysteriously, as if pushed by a hidden force. Yet it bore no comet's tail, no visible plume of ice or dust. Nothing made sense. For a brief moment in cosmic time, it passed us by, and then was gone, slipping back into the eternal dark. Was it rock, ice, or relic? A shard of a shattered world, or something far stranger, something beyond our categories of nature itself? Whatever it was, Oumuamua left us with silence once more. But this time, the silence was not empty. It was filled with questions. On the summit of Haleakala, a dormant volcano that towers above the Hawaiian Islands, the air is thin, cold, and clear. The night sky stretches like a black ocean, endless and silent, pierced only by the ancient fires of stars. For centuries, Polynesian navigators looked to these same skies, reading the constellations as maps across the Pacific. But on this October night in 2017, the sky itself held a secret no navigator had ever known. Inside the dome of the Pan-STARRS 1 telescope, the silence was broken only by the hum of machinery and the constant clicking of cameras capturing fragments of the heavens. Pan-STARRS was built as a sentinel, its purpose not to marvel at the beauty of the night sky, but to guard, to scan for asteroids and comets, to notice the silent wanderers that might one day stray too close to Earth. Every night it captured thousands of images, cataloging rocks, dust, and fragments that obeyed the same laws of gravity that had ruled our solar system since its birth. That night, the system registered a faint speck of light. So faint it could have been dismissed as noise, a ghost in the data. Nothing seemed unusual, just another asteroid among countless others. But when Robert Warwick, a Canadian astronomer working at the University of Hawaii's Institute for Astronomy, examined the images, something caught his attention. The speck didn't line up. Its path was wrong. At first, he suspected an error. The sky is vast, and even the best instruments sometimes stumble. But as he checked earlier Pan-STARRS images, stretching back through the previous nights, the pattern became undeniable. This object was not where it should have been. It was moving faster than expected. And not just faster, differently. He reached out to colleagues, searching for confirmation. Within hours, other telescopes had turned their mirrors toward the faint light. Data poured in. What emerged was not just unusual, it was unprecedented. The object's trajectory was not elliptical, like the orbits of comets or asteroids bound to the sun. Instead, it was hyperbolic, a sharp, unbound curve. This meant it had not been born under our sun's influence. It was not circling, it was passing through, and once it left, it would never return. For the first time in human history, astronomers realized they were looking at an interstellar visitor. A fragment of another system cast adrift into the galaxy, now slicing briefly through our solar system before vanishing again into the dark. The thrill of discovery collided with a sense of awe. Astronomers had long speculated that fragments from other stars must wander the galaxy. Statistical models suggested it was inevitable, but in theory, it is not the same as reality. For centuries of watching, no such object had ever been seen. And now, suddenly, there it was, captured in the silent eye of Pan's stars. It was given a name worthy of its mystery, Oumuamua. In Hawaiian, it means a messenger, a scout sent first to reach out. The name carried both reverence and humility, as though humanity was admitting, "This is not ours, it belongs to the stars." But naming it did not tame it. Oumuamua refused to behave like anything familiar. Its speed was astonishing, nearly 87 kilometers per second as it swung past Earth. Too fast for capture, too fast for any return. Its size was small, perhaps 200 meters wide, perhaps 800 meters long. The numbers were slippery, changing as data accumulated. But one thing became clear: its shape was extreme. Unlike any asteroid catalogued, Oumuamua was elongated, at least 5 to 10 times longer than it was wide. Some visualized it as a cigar-shaped shard, tumbling end over end. Others argued it was more like a pancake, a thin disk flashing unevenly as it spun. Whatever the truth, no object in our solar system had ever displayed proportions like this. Imagine a cosmic spear thrown across the void. Imagine a galactic needle drifting silently through our daylight sky. That was the image Oumuamua left in the minds of those who studied it. The urgency of the moment became clear. By the time Oumuamua was discovered, it had already passed its closest approach to the sun and was racing away back toward the darkness. Humanity had been given only days to observe it before it vanished forever. Telescopes around the world joined the chase. The Gemini Observatory, the Very Large Telescope in Chile, the Canada-France-Hawaii Telescope. Even the Hubble Space Telescope in orbit was pressed into service. For 11 brief days, the world's instruments strained to capture every photon Oumuamua reflected. And then, slowly, the messenger faded into the background noise of space, beyond the reach of even our most powerful eyes. But in those 11 days, enough was seen to ignite a storm of wonder. Oumuamua was more than just a rock from another star. It was a challenge, a riddle thrown across the gulf of space. Its brightness fluctuated in irregular rhythms, suggesting chaotic tumbling. Its path bent in ways that suggested unseen forces at work. It accelerated ever so slightly as it left the sun, yet it showed no cometary tail, no plume of dust, no signature of sublimating ice. The more astronomers looked, the less it fit into categories. It was not a comet. It was not an asteroid. It was something else. For those 11 days, science itself felt small. The instruments of an entire civilization strained to understand a single fragment from beyond, and yet clarity slipped away. The cosmos had sent us a messenger, but the message was written in a language we did not know how to read. Looking back, the sense of fragility is haunting. If Pan's stars had not been scanning that patch of sky, Oumuamua would have passed unnoticed. Humanity would have never known it came. Our first visitor from the stars would have come and gone in silence, leaving no record, no story, no proof. But we did see it, and in that brief glimpse, everything changed. Humanity's solar system was no longer an island. The galaxy was alive with travelers, and one of them had just brushed past our doorstep. On that October night in 2017, the silence of space cracked open just for a moment. A fragment of another world tumbled through our sky, leaving us with a revelation that was as humbling as it was electrifying. We are not isolated. The stars speak, but only in whispers, and Oumuamua was the first whisper we ever heard. At first, astronomers hesitated to believe what they were seeing. The mind resists the unfamiliar, and nothing about the orbit of this strange object fit into the familiar. Every comet, every asteroid in our solar system, no matter how eccentric its path, bends to the sun's gravity. Their orbits are ellipses, stretched and skewed, but still closed loops. They may travel vast distances, but in time they always return. Oumuamua did not. Its trajectory was hyperbolic, a mathematical curve that belongs not to a prisoner of gravity, but to a visitor passing through. A hyperbola means escape. It means that once the journey is made, there is no return. For astronomers trained to read the silent language of orbits, this was the first undeniable sign. Oumuamua was not one of ours. The calculations were clear. Its eccentricity, the number that describes the shape of its path, was about 1.2. Anything above 1 is unbound, free of the sun's grasp, and Oumuamua was well above that threshold. It was simply moving too fast. When it passed closest to the sun in September 2017, it had already been accelerated by gravity to nearly 315,000 kilometers per hour. Even at that speed, Earth's orbit barely slowed it. By the time it raced past our planet in October, it was already on its way out, destined to vanish forever into interstellar space. For astronomers, this was more than a discovery. It was a rupture. For centuries, scientists had wondered if fragments from other star systems might one day drift into ours. Models predicted it. Probability demanded it. Yet no telescope had ever confirmed such a thing. Until now. This was the first. The realization spread through the scientific community like a shockwave. The very first interstellar object ever observed within our solar system had appeared. A wanderer from another sun, a relic of another system's birth. A piece of the galaxy itself cutting across our sky. And with that realization came a weight of awe. For generations, humanity had imagined visitors from beyond, alien spacecraft, strange signals, distant civilizations. But this was something quieter and perhaps more profound. A piece of stone or ice hurled into the dark by cosmic forces millions or billions of years ago had finally reached us. It was not alive. It carried no voice, no intelligence. Yet in its silence, it spoke volumes. It was proof that the galaxy is not static, not isolated. Proof that systems are not closed off, but exchange fragments like messages cast into a cosmic sea. Proof that our world is not alone in its creation. And yet the awe was paired with unease, because Oumuamua was not just interstellar. It was strange. Its speed and trajectory were only the beginning. Its shape, its light, its very behavior defied the categories astronomers had relied on for centuries. When data from observatories poured in, the shape became the subject of fascination. The way its brightness rose and fell suggested it was rotating, but not smoothly. Instead, it tumbled, flipping chaotically. And the change in brightness was extreme, up to a factor of 10. No known asteroid produced such wild fluctuations. The conclusion: Oumuamua must be highly elongated, perhaps 5 to 10 times longer than it was wide, a form never before seen in nature. Some visualized a long, needle-like shard. Others, a flattened disk flashing as it spun. Both images were unsettling. The cosmos had never shown us such a form before. But the true shock came weeks later. As astronomers tracked its flight out of the solar system, they noticed something that should have been impossible. Oumuamua was accelerating. It was moving just slightly faster than gravity alone could explain. Something was pushing it ever so faintly away from the sun. Normally, comets show this behavior. As ice sublimates, turning from solid to gas under the sun's heat, jets of vapor erupt, creating a faint tail and a tiny push, altering the orbit. But Oumuamua showed no tail, no coma, no sign of dust or gas. And yet, the push was real. The data could not be denied. For scientists, this was the moment the mystery deepened into something almost unnerving. A rock from another star system, shaped like nothing we had ever seen, accelerating without cause. It was as if the universe had sent us a puzzle with half the pieces missing. The community divided. Some clung to the idea that it was a comet, albeit one stranger than any other. Perhaps its ices were exotic, sublimating invisibly. Perhaps its tail was too faint to detect. Others were less convinced. They began to wonder if Oumuamua was not simply natural, if it might in fact be something else entirely. For the public, the story was electrifying. Headlines circled the globe. Mysterious interstellar object detected. First visitor from beyond the stars. Astronomers baffled by strange acceleration. For once, a cosmic mystery had leapt from academic journals into the imagination of millions. And behind the headlines lay the deeper truth. This was not just an astronomical curiosity. This was a turning point. For the first time, we were forced to confront the possibility that our solar system is not an island but a crossroads. That other suns shed fragments into the galaxy. Fragments that drift for eons before brushing past worlds like ours. That any one of these fragments could carry secrets of other systems, their chemistry, their formation, perhaps even their ruins. Oumuamua was not simply an object, it was a revelation, a quiet reminder of how vast the unknown remains. As it raced away from Earth, astronomers scrambled to collect every scrap of data before it disappeared forever. The Gemini North Telescope in Hawaii measured its color, a deep reddish hue, like many objects in the outer solar system, its surface darkened by cosmic rays. The Very Large Telescope in Chile tracked its tumbling spin. Hubble measured its fading brightness as it slipped into the distance. But every answer only raised more questions. If it was a comet, where was the tail? If it was an asteroid, how did it accelerate? If it was natural, why had no other object like it ever been seen? The shock of interstellar arrival had given way to something more enduring, the birth of a mystery. And behind that mystery, a deeper, more haunting question lingered. If this was the first, how many more are there? How many other messengers slip silently through our skies, unseen, unnoticed, carrying with them the stories of stars we may never know? The story of Oumuamua is not a story of answers, it is a story of questions. For 11 fleeting days, humanity caught sight of it, a solitary traveler tumbling silently through our solar system. It offered no voice, no signal, no inscription carved on its surface. Only a path that cut across the familiar orbits of our planets and then vanished into the abyss, never to return. Now it is gone, beyond the reach of our telescopes, beyond the reach of our instruments. It slips further each day into the black sea of interstellar space. By now, it is nothing more than a dim ember, indistinguishable from the countless fragments that drift between stars. And yet, its shadow lingers. for Oumuamua changed us. It reminded us that our solar system is not an island, that we are not alone in casting fragments into the dark, that every star, every world, every system may scatter pieces of itself into the galaxy. Relics, shards, frozen echoes of creation, and one of those relics brushed our sky. The truth of its nature remains hidden. Was it rock, ice, a cosmic splinter carved by forces we barely understand? Or was it something else, a relic of intention, a fragment of intelligence, a silent machine adrift in the void? Science demands restraint. Without evidence, extraordinary claims remain unproven, and yet the mystery endures because silence itself is suggestive. Oumuamua behaved like nothing we have seen. Its acceleration had no tail. Its shape defied reason. Its path was the mark of an exile, wandering for millions, perhaps billions of years across the galaxy. What does it mean for us here on this fragile world to know that such things pass through our neighborhood? For some, it is humbling. The universe is vast, and we are small. A single fragment can remind us how little we truly know. For others, it is exhilarating. If this is the first, then there must be more. Other visitors, other messengers waiting to be seen. The galaxy is not silent. It speaks in relics. And yet there is another possibility, haunting in its weight. That Oumuamua was not just unusual, but unique. That in the lifetimes of all who live today, no other interstellar messenger will come so close again. That we were granted one brief chance to learn and we let it slip away. Philosophers once spoke of the sublime, experiences so vast, so overwhelming that they inspire both terror and wonder. Oumuamua is sublime, not because it threatened us, but because it reminded us of the incomprehensible scale of the unknown. Somewhere, in the darkness between stars, it continues, alone, spinning, carrying the scars of its birth, the secrets of its origin, locked within a silence we may never break. It will drift long after our civilizations are gone, long after Earth has changed, long after the sun has burned its last fire. Oumuamua will still be traveling, a message without a reader, a riddle without a solution. Perhaps that is the final lesson. Not all mysteries are meant to be solved. Some are meant to confront us with humility, to remind us that our instruments, our theories, even our imagination are still young. We are children staring into a sky we do not yet understand. And so the silence closes again. But it is not the same silence as before. It is a silence filled with questions, filled with wonder, filled with the knowledge that the void is not empty, that the stars are not distant strangers, but participants in a vast unseen exchange of fragments and relics. Oumuamua was the first voice we heard, the first messenger we recognized, and though it slipped away, it left behind a promise that we are not alone in the drift of galaxies. Whatever it truly was, it has already joined eternity, a shard of alien night tumbling forever into the infinite dark. A story half told, a secret carried beyond our reach, a messenger we were not ready to understand. And so, once again, the universe is silent, but humanity will keep listening.